And I see that Muslims online, Muslim apologists on their YouTube channels and on Twitter are complaining about some double standards because of all the support that Ukraine is currently receiving from the West and from people all over the world. What double standards?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is a response to one of Ridwan's recent video in which he argues that there is no double standard, that there is no hypocrisy when it comes to the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. The Western countries, the Western people which supported Ukraine are not hypocritical when they did not support Muslim countries in the past which were invaded by Western countries like the United States and the United Kingdom. The funny thing is that Ridwan in this video debunked himself. He debunked his own video.
Iraq is a difficult situation. I think the Iraq invasion should have never happened, despite the fact that Saddam had been accused of committing extreme atrocities and massacres, including the Halabja massacre, in which numerous people died through chemical attacks. Nevertheless, Iraq was attacked under false pretenses, and the war afterwards under American control turned into a mess. And America should have left that country very long ago. I agree that the invasion of Iraq and the occupation of Iraq for such a long time was wrong. But was it comparable to Russia invading Ukraine? I have been to Iraq myself twice, and the people there don't want to become part of one and the same government.
So you agree that the Iraq war was a mistake? This Iraq war, which is a mistake, was condoned and supported and led by 25 countries. I think 25, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 25 countries from all around the world that attacked Iraq, even though this war was against the United Nations. And it had the support of the majority of Western media. And you think that there is no double standard, that there is no hypocrisy? Is there something wrong in your mind, in your head? You're making a video arguing that there is no any hypocrisy, any double standards, and you prove it yourself.
What double standards?
You talk about the Iraq war and you say, yeah, it was a mistake. Okay, this mistake was not condemned the same way the mistake of Russia was condemned.
What double standards?
The country that was attacked was not support the same way Ukraine is support today.
What double standards?
The countries which led that war were not sanctioned the same way Russia is sanctioned today.
What double standards?
Today, the invaded country is getting all the support from the West. In the Iraq war, the invaders got all the support from the West.
What double standards?
George W. Bush and Tony Blair, who led this war against Iraq, got re-elected after the war. So those people who were responsible for this war in Iraq got re-elected. They got rewarded for this attack.
What double standards?
And you're saying that there is no hypocrisy, that there is no double standard? Moreover, you continuously attacked Russia for invading Ukraine, but you are proud of carrying the citizenship of the country which invaded Iraq.
I don't know why I have this on. I originally got this because I wanted to use this to present my new country song that I just wrote and composed since I became an American citizen, which happened only recently. And
if this position of yours is not called hypocrisy, then I don't think this word hypocrisy could be used anywhere else. This is the most obvious level of hypocrisy. The funny thing about this is that Ridwan set a criteria for when it becomes justified for a country to attack another country and when it is not justified. And this criteria is really hilarious. It was like, let me just look at this conflict between a Western country and a Muslim country, and let me look at the Russian conflict with Ukraine and see any slight differences, and those differences will be the criteria for when it becomes justified for a country to attack another. Let's just see some example of these criteria.
Ukraine is a sovereign country at the border of Russia. Now here is why this is not hypocritical and why there are no double standards. Number one, Ukraine is not comparable to Muslim countries that were occupied by America, for example, or invaded by different forces. Ukraine is a sovereign country.
Ukraine is a sovereign nation. I don't understand what does that have to do with the topic, as if attacking a non-sovereign nation is justified. For example, Kashmir is a non-sovereign piece of land. Therefore, attacking Kashmir will be okay, will be fine. Why did he mention this sovereign point? Because he wants to create a difference between the Ukrainian-Russian conflict and the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, by arguing that Palestine was not a sovereign country.
In Palestine, the situation is completely different. Let's not even go into that. A sovereign state named Palestine never existed. The Palestinian Arabs, after the fall of the Ottoman Empire and the control of the British Mandate of Palestine, had the choice to declare their own state. They did not do that because they didn't want Israel to coexist with them. So instead of declaring sovereignty, they aligned themselves with Egypt and Jordan and the Arab states and attacked Israel instead. They even officially became part of those different nations. Only much later did the Arabs declare a free sovereign state. And even now, they want to go back to old agreements which changed.
Palestine was never a sovereign country. And that somehow justifies the occupation of the land, the displacement of the Palestinian people, the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, the law of return for all Jews from all around the world to come to this place, and depriving Palestinians who owned land there from coming back to their homeland. All of this is justified simply because Palestine was not a sovereign country. So according to our genius Ridvan, fighting a sovereign country to topple the government is worse than the displacement of millions of Palestinians just for allowing another ethnic group to find place to live in. I'm not here trying to downplay the suffering of the Ukrainian people. I'm just showing the hypocrisy of this despicable human being. The Palestinian people have been living in hell for decades. And this despicable individual wants to show you that no, it's not comparable simply because, it wasn't a sovereign country in the first place. Which means it's okay. It's okay for the Israelis to displace the Palestinians. It's okay for the Israelis to build illegal settlements. It's okay for the Israelis to kill thousands in Gaza. With the support of whom, Ridwan? With the support of a country that you are proud of carrying its citizenship. All of these atrocities committed by the Israeli government in the past 80 years was supported by the United States, a country that you are proud of being a citizen of, while condemning and attacking Russia. If that's not hypocrisy, I don't know what is. Even when Palestinian children were killed in Palestine, the United States would veto any resolution from the Security Council against Israel to protect Israel from any punishment. Another point that he mentioned is
only much later did the Arabs declare a free sovereign state. And even now, they want to go back to old agreements which changed.
So if a group of people came to take half of your land and you reject, then it's your fault that you lost all of your land. For example, let's say that Russia now said that, Ukraine, we are going to stop this war if you give us half of Ukraine. And the United Nations voted that Ukraine must give half of Ukraine to Russia. And the Ukrainian people refused this. And Russia invaded the whole of Ukraine. Are you going to say that Ukraine has no right to demand half of the land after they lost the war? I mean, mate, the hypocrisy is outstanding. I mean, wallahi, if you remained silent, that would have been better for you. So, in short, in a video that Ridvan uploaded to show that there is no hypocrisy, he actually confirmed the outstanding hypocrisy. And he showed himself to be the biggest hypocrite, the biggest bootlicker of the West. Thank you so much for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.